This is Assassin's Creed Odyssey running on a 3.6 gigahertz Intel Core i9 9900K with 64 gigs of RAM and a 2 gig NVIDIA GeForce GTX 770 video card. So the purpose of this video is this is mainly for the people that have that have had no problem getting a fairly high-end build put together, but not a video card. The 770 isn't quite at the level that I would describe as garbage yet. 7 series is where I kind of draw the line. I will not. If I get one for free in a system that I got an otherwise good deal on, I'd take a 600 series card. Although I don't get those anymore. I'm finding 7 series is usually where the stuff I get stops, just based on the kind of hardware I'm buying. I mean, I'm typically buying, even third gen systems that I acquire are usually upgraded to a 970 or a 780 or something like that at this point. So, but I will not intentionally attempt to acquire anything below a 700 series card. This particular card, I think I actually, this was a card I got from a buyer a couple of months ago, maybe 5 or 6 months ago, when the absolute height of unavailability of cards was going on. But I was just starting a new job, so right after I acquired this card, I basically stopped building systems, so I've still got it on hand. But I think I gave the guy a $40 discount on the system he was buying. I think it was a regular buyer, or somebody that bought a system from me before, and I think it was probably like an i7 4790 16 gigs with a 970 that I think I'd priced at maybe $550, $600, and I knocked him like $40 on the cost. It's one of those things where at that point any card that I could put as what I call a giveaway card. So basically, if I can build a system and drop any even marginally functional gaming card in it, and then sell it for dirt cheap, that's usually a pretty solid seller. So this is the lowest end card I would actually put in a system. So what we're trying to do today is find out if it can provide a enjoyable gaming experience on anything reasonably modern. I'm gonna test Fortnite with this. And Fortnite's going to deliver a playable experience. Apex Legends is going to deliver a playable experience, most likely, just on the outer edge, but probably paired with this high end of a build, it'll deliver a playable experience. But for these higher end games that require, a little bit more video power, I wanted to see if we could provide what I call an enjoyable experience, which is basically the game looking fundamentally about the way it's supposed to look. This is actually, so we're running on low right now. Where is it? So we're on low, and actually, this is better than the experience that Assassin's Creed Origins gave on low. So Assassin's Creed Origins on low, it's not really a question of frame rate playability so much as it is like all this color that you see in the foliage, as it were, isn't there. It flattens all of the scenery on Origins, but on this it actually gives you a kind of an interesting landscape still, which is pretty cool that it can do that. Frame rate's on the very edge. I'm not showing a frame rate counter right now because that's another recommendation I make. Unless you're specifically benchmarking the system, if you've purchased a low-end video card, or you've been given a low-end video card and you want to see if you can, enjoy any of the games on it, especially if you're not playing competitively, if you're just doing something like this for fun, I would always recommend running it without a frame rate counter. And if you feel like you're happy with it, just don't look at the frame rate counter. I mean, because it's, watch this. So it's playable right now. But if we look at the frame rate, let's pull it up. Okay. See this? Now we see how terrible the frame rate actually is, when before I would have guessed it was anywhere from 25 to 50 FPS, as the thing above showed, but now we're seeing that we're only hitting a constant, I mean, what? Sometimes it's dipping to a constant 28, 29? But without that frame of reference, to know that you're running at terrible frame rates, if you know that the card can't deliver high frame rates, I generally recommend don't look at it. So let's see what it does. I think this one requires you to reload. Let's see here. So let's restart the game and see what we get. It's probably not going to be playable. Let's take my own advice here, though. Let's close our frame rate counter. It might not be noticeably different either, though. That's the other thing. Sometimes sometimes the difference in frame rate between setting levels isn't as big as you would expect. So I don't know what to expect here. Let's see what we get. And Odyssey is still a fairly demanding game. It's a couple years old, but we're not throwing it. This is not Minecraft or something like that. This is a reasonably demanding game that requires a level of performance to run. So let's see what we get here. Come on. Even running off an SSD, this is slow. Okay, so well, the flame looks better. But even that's stuttering. Okay, so let's see what we've got. So we're running at medium setting. Absolutely unplayable frame rate. Okay, so visually, the difference is obvious. But frame rate wise, it's unplayable. My finding is that on the Assassin's Creed games, typically you're going to be wanting to sit somewhere in the basically where we were before, minimum of say 30 FPS stable, with dips not going below, say, or I'm sorry. So you want to be at, say, 50 FPS peaks, 25 to 30 FPS valleys, and a stable frame rate of somewhere near 30 FPS, which, let's pull this up and see. Come on. Oops, that's not. Why did I try to load OBS? What am I doing here? No OBS. Okay. That. So. Yeah, very, very, very unplayable. So let's see. I think I can turn it down without reloading. I think I just have to have it. Let's see here. turn this back down to low. Oh, I do have to restart. Darn it. Looks like part of it, too, is we're hitting up against the 2 gig video RAM as well. And, okay, so let's... Yeah, so the other problem, like I said, is the 2 gigs of video RAM. There is a 4 gig variant of this card, and it would make a playability difference. I don't know how big, because I don't have one on hand to compare. It would be noticeable, though. Something like this, where you're actually right on the edge, you're gonna see a difference, because you just don't have enough video RAM to run these modern games. Modern games really want a 4 gig video card. Some of them want an 8 gig. You know, some people will say, oh, you know, this game wants 10 gigs or 11 gigs on something like a TI. But realistically, in order to play the games at the level that was intended by the original developer, 4 gigs is kind of where the low end of modern video is at. So certainly we can get a playable experience, but this is on the very outside edge. So don't go out and try to spend money on one of these cards. I'll put this card in a system that I'm going to resell for, you know, $350, where $350 for what it can deliver is an incredible value. But don't go out and try to buy this card unless it's like $10 or something. But no one's going to sell you this card for $10. Everyone that sells this card is going to want like $50 or $80 or something stupid like that for it. So don't even bother. But anyway, I hope people find this kind of an interesting look at least my opinion on what constitutes playable game performance. But hope everybody finds this interesting and informative, and thanks for watching the video.